Taken in its entirety, the three-step process starts with a symposium. The symposium is a complete lecture series which separates any physical training from really mental preparation in a classroom. Two would be the physical training that would answer a lot of questions about misinformation in our sport, about misteaches in our sport, and then how to put all that together in a pitcher prep program would be how to take you in your different days of the week in a prepare to pitch, compete in the game, repair to prepare again so I can pitch against cycle. Specific in those three phases, we want to answer these questions. What is the misinformation that's been perpetuated over the years as to safe and efficient mechanical models for developing, a pitcher, a thrower, so they don't get hurt and reach their fullest potential? Second would be, why the dramatic increases in avoidable arm injuries are happening. What are we doing at the little league levels all the way to pro baseball and softball that's causing kids to break down physically? The third thing would be, we want to talk about unhealthy competitive environments in our sport. That is, what phases of every year are development phases where winning needs to not take a back seat, but developing your skill needs to take a front seat. And then we want to talk about we want to address huge opportunities to talk about nutrition. Nutrition being one of the key factors that is I think, forcing kids to have to accept being an athlete, a lesser athlete than they should be. The fifth thing is to talk to kids in a no holds barred, non-apologetic way, that any cavalier attempt to cheat, that is use steroids or performance enhancing drugs, needs to be cut out of your vote, needs to be eradicated. But more importantly in that vein is to educate kids on the misuse of legal supplements that we buy at some of these health stores that are sold to be some panacea, when really, opportunity and hard work is much more important to developing your full potential than any other shortcut out there. What are the strength and flexibility and requirements to be able to repeat a motion, even hitting over and over and over without developing patterns that will turn into an injury down the road? And then, of course, the last thing of that in the three-pronged attempt is to get the information in the hands of the athlete and their parents so that it's not as confusing a road to go from high school to college. I think some of the biggest anxiety issues in our sport happen when a kid gets ready to go to college and he doesn't know exactly, or she doesn't know exactly what they need to do in order to get there. At the end of the three-pronged process, and this is the complete athlete's main function, is to look a kid in the eyes and say, okay, I need you to be able to answer 4 questions. And as I walk across this country and talk to kids all over the country and their parents, I have yet to have anybody that has not gone through our program that can answer these 4 questions. As a parent, these questions are very, very important. 1, what are the mechanical imperatives to a safe, efficient, repeatable throwing motion? I want you to be able to explain to me what the 8 imperatives are that have been identified biomechanically with cameras at 2,000 and 3,000 frames a second. They can see it. Second would be, what are the nutritional factors for recovery and repair in a prepare, compete, repair cycle? Third, what are the strength and conditioning requirements for having a body that's as strong on his right side as his left side, front side as his back side, so that we don't begin to have muscular and skeletal imbalances that turn into injury down the road. And then the fourth question is, what are the mental emotional competencies that you have to develop along the way with all this other, so that you know that you've done everything you can to meet the demands of sport, of maturing as an adolescent, and becoming a leader on and off the field. That's at the end. If we can get kids to look us in the eye and say, look, here's the mechanics, here's the strength and conditioning requirements, here's the nutritional aspects, and here's the mental emotional competencies that I have to be able to do so that I can prepare for a job, interview, or for a college, so I can impress a scout, or what are all those kind of things. Then I think we've done a job that nobody in the country is even beginning to address.